Hello everyone, a Dvar Torah for you to take with you the Shabbos. There's a famous piece in the Rambam's Moreh Nevuchim, Guide to the Perplexed, about the reason for Karbanos. We're now starting the book of Vayikra, which is all about Karbanos, the different sacrifices in the Beis HaMikdash, in the temple. And the Rambam says the basic reason for all the Karbanos is not because this is ideally the way Hashem wants us to serve Him, but because the Jewish people, unfortunately, were used to the ways of serving other gods. The other nations used to bring sacrifices to their other gods. And for a person to change drastically from one type of service, when they're used to serving one god, to a totally different type of service, serving the other god, it's too much of a shift for a person to make. In other words, if a person was used to active sacrifice in temples with animal sacrifice and slaughtering, for Hashem all of a sudden to say, you know what, for me it's just prayer. Just stay in your house and pray. A person would feel lacking because he's used to action in the service of God. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu, therefore, Hashem, therefore incorporated in the Torah that now I know you have this desire to sacrifice because that's what you've been doing all this time. So therefore do it, but channel it towards me. And I'll consider it like a mitzvah because you're not doing it to your gods, you're now doing it to me. This is what the Rambam says. That's why we have korbanos, because we're taking people away from the service of the other gods and we're switching it to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Ramban argues strongly, and he says you can't say that the mitzvos, the commandments for korbanos, is simply a response to the ways that other nations serve their idols and their gods. Because you find that people brought korbanos, that people brought sacrifices even before there was even idol worship in the world. You find that Adam Harishon, the first man, and his children, Cain and Hevel, brought korbanos. They brought sacrifices to Hashem. The Gemara in Shabbos says that Adam's korban to Hashem, Adam's sacrifice to Hashem was unique. It was a shore, it was an ox that had one horn. And we all know that Cain brought vegetables as a sacrifice to Hashem, and Hevel brought animals as a sacrifice. And that was even before idol worship was around, other gods were around. Idol worship only started in the days of Enosh, which came a little while later. So says the Ramban, you see that karbanos, that sacrifices to Hashem, is intrinsically an important part of service to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And therefore he argues with the Rambam and says that cannot be the reason for the korbanos. Everyone have a great Shabbos.